formation lap underway here in Silverstone. This is the season finale. Top 2 in the championship, separated by 2 points. Britain starting from P6 is on 87 points after 10 races. Michi, the racing point in P3, starting from P3, second in the championship, 85 points. Just 2 points separating the pair of them. Man to watch out for, Michi. We're going to go on board with the racing point. He's second in the championship. He's only down by 2 points. If he finishes ahead of Britain and he finishes inside the top 4, the championship will be his, but he's got a terrible start. Oh, this contact. Britain is around. The championship leader has spun out into on his own. What a disaster for the championship leader. And the virtual safety car is out, so that will actually help Britain a little bit. And people are now getting penalties for hitting each other under the VSC conditions. There's another bit of tap between Baron Ravender, and now Valen gets a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. A chaotic start. Britain spun. The championship leader has spun. Red. Oh, there's a move. That's Lucanoid making a stick on Pucci. Meanwhile, we've got a battle for P2 here. It's the Baby Drew defending on the inside and last going all the way around the outside of Stowe Corner. Brilliant overtake from the Williams driver. Can the Baby Drew fight back? Oh, he's locked up into turn 16. Michi is looking. He knows Britain is down through the field. There's pit stops. Pucci, meanwhile, speeds in the pit lane. Zexi also into the pits to trying to get rid of his 5-second penalty. The Baby Dread's got a terrible exit coming out of the final corner. And oh, has he been hit? Has he been hit by Verdex? Was there a contact, or did Baby Drew lost himself? Either way, oh, Verdex has sent it fully into the Baby Drew, and Valen is looking at the pair of them going side by side through turn 4. And now Valen needs to be careful. There's a glitch. That's Britain jumping up the order, but he's still in P10. By my calculation, he's fortunately got no damage unless some of the others of 5 drivers have pitted after lap 1 and they make contact. Meanwhile, this is a great fight here. They're going side by side through Chapel. Nick has got ahead of Valen through the start phase, so Nick is moving up into P7, but Valen wants the position back. Down the inside goes the Ferrari, nudges the Mercedes. Oh! Great move on the outside by Nick to keep his P7 for now. The door is closing, and Valen, crucially, backs out of that one. Britain, meanwhile, he's caught the back of, oh, Valen. That's a very fishtaily exit coming out of the final corner. In a free position for Britain, who's gone very cautious through turn 1. Obviously, spun here on lap 1, so obviously, he's going to take caution here in that corner. Meanwhile, it's a send from Lucanoy. That's not the best send, I want to say, from Lucanoy. He put himself onto the sausage curb, which is not very far behind Michi, though, because Michi's pace is dictated by Lars in front of him right now. And Lars isn't that much faster compared to Britain, because you can see Mitch is definitely the faster driver, but to overtake under intermediate conditions, that's a completely different story. You don't have the advantage of DRS, and you're also very hesitant to use your overtake because, and yellow flag, that's Jord, unfortunately, spinning in the Maggots and Backett section. Meanwhile, I think the last in the Mercedes has passed Zexi in the P12. Both of them have already pitted. Oh, they're really struggling again. And looks all set for now. But the Red Bull is, oh, where did last go? That's a huge lag. That's not what you want to see. Meanwhile, Britain is really close to the back of Nick. What on earth did Joel do? He's on the straight. Got a 10-second penalty for exceeding track limits. And Nick gets out of the way for Britain. That's very interesting of the Mercedes driver there. He's decided to let the championship leader go. Probably because he thinks his pace isn't as fast as Britain anyway, so there's really no point battling with the championship leader. Jordan, meanwhile, he's on the blue flag conditions, and Codemasters keeps giving him the 10-second penalty for exceeding track limits. It's gone from bad to worse for the McLaren driver after contact on the formation with Valid. He's getting really close though. It's Michi. Is he going to use his overtake? Yes, but only after 6th gear. Just being cautious here. Last actually has more overtake than him, so doesn't look like Michi can pull off an overtake anytime soon. Brisson is catching Luca Noy by about a second a lap here. The gap was 1.5 seconds. It's now down to just half a second. Behind the baby Drew in the try. If Luca Noy picks up another 3-second penalty, is he going to let Brisson go? It doesn't look like to be the case. He's using overtake. He's not relinquishing the position as easily as Nick did. And this is going to frustrate Brisson a lot more. But Luca Noy is pitting. Oh, wow. And he doesn't know. There's no, he's retired from the session. That's interesting. So Luca Noy has just given up. Let's see that Brisson in clear air. Can he catch up to the train ahead? That's kind of deformed a little bit. Because the baby dress lost ground to Mitch up ahead. And controller Verdex is really closing in. Brisson is not really closing in the gap though. Let's look at the gap to the leader. The gap is 6 seconds between Brisson and Lars in P2. We will keep a really close eye on that gap, because that is crucial. If Michi stays in P3, Brisson needs to be P2. Simple as that. And he's 6 seconds away from that. He's got 18 laps to do it. And the cars in front, they're not really battling, but they are very close to each other. Meanwhile, Brisson, under no pressure whatsoever, can push along. So gap across the line is 5.7 seconds. Meanwhile, Brisson, he's gone deep through turn 16. Let's look at the gap across the line. It was 5.7 on the last lap. It's now 4.9. So Brisson has caught up by 0.8 of a second on the last lap compared to P2 in last. And you can visibly see both Verdeck and the baby Drew coming towards Brisson. Through Maggots, through Beckett, you can see Brisson visibly gaining again. Down to 1.4 seconds, the car ahead. And down to 4.4 seconds now to Lars, was once again holding off Michi. If Brisson somehow pulls this off, like Sebastian Vettel did in 2012 Brazil, he has to buy Lars something. Because without Lars, I would imagine Michi is off into the distance. But Lars is giving Brisson that glimmer of hope so far. After lap 9 of 26 completed, we are through 1/3 of the race. It's still hanging in the air, the championship. Michi has the upper hand, but it can all change. It's raining, it's Silverstone. It's fascinating. Meanwhile, Verdex, that's very shaky through turn 2. Brisson is visibly closing in. 3.7 seconds now, 3.6 seconds now to Lars. Brisson has now fully caught this kind of third group here. For the go in the first. Oh, Verdex let him go. Verdex has let Brisson go. That is a huge implication. You can see Brisson weaving his wheel for appreciation. Verdex has decided to let Brisson go. And Brisson now, despite getting the dirty air and losing a little bit of time, he's back within 4 seconds of last. I mean, just need to pass Mitch, to be honest. So he's only 3 seconds from the championship. But between these, between him and the championship, still stands the baby Drew and the most important guy, Michi, his championship rival, as the Baron Raven has spun, but not halfway yet. Brisson has recovered from P14 to P5. He needs 2 more positions to secure the championship that he has led for the majority of the season. But he needs to get past the baby Drew and get past his championship rival in Michi. He is closing in though. The gap is down to 2.8 seconds between him and Michi. However, the baby Drew in the Red Bull is still in between the pair of them. Britain has not really been able to close the gap further down towards Mitchie. It has stayed at 2.7 seconds. That's because Mitchie is really pushing now. He sees Britain passing Vertex, and he's getting a better exit coming out of Chapel. Does he have a chance to have a look into Stowe? He's fully into Sivry, but he's not close enough. He's turned his overtake off, and last is 70% overtake. I can't believe it. He stayed ahead of Mitchie and saved more. They're both pitting. They're both pitting. So they've both gone for the undercut, and everyone is into the pits. Everyone has gone for the undercut. That leaves the protocol to circulate on track. Is anyone going to get held up here? I don't think so, because they're too close to each other. This could be really fascinating here. Is anyone going to get held up? I don't think so. Yeah, they all pull into their box cleanly. And away they go then. The line of stern here. The 5 of them from P2 to P6 effectively on track as Protocol and Nick carries on. This is getting really intense. What's the gap then coming out of the pits? Mitch is still behind last. 7/10 of a second. The gap didn't change. But Britain, I think, has gained a little bit, just a little bit through the pit stop phase because they all bunch up in the pit line. The gap now 2.5 seconds between Britain and his maiden championship. And everyone now has a recharged battery because they went through the pit line and they can push. Oh, last wide through Cobbs. Does Mitchie see an opportunity? I don't think he does. It needs courage. It needs bravery. Mitch is not desperate yet. He can still follow last until Britain passes the baby Jewel. Then he's probably gonna pull out an all-out attack. But look at Mitchie go. He's using all of his overtake, but so is last. Mitch is not close enough to send a dive through Stowe. It's tantalizingly close as Mitchie loses a bit of a grip through the Stowe corner. Has Nick carried on? I guess he has. So Nick is, and so has Protocol. So both of them are going on for a massive overcut compared to the rest of the grid. As oh, the baby Jewel, what's happened to him? I think at the moment, unless he's let Britain go, which I don't think he would have. I have no idea. Did the baby Jewel let Britain go, or did he have a moment coming out of the final corner? Because he did have a moment on lap 2, I think, coming out of the final corner. And this means Britain is 1 car away from the championship. And that 1 car he has to pass is his straight up championship rival. How are we at this stage after lap 1? Britain was down in 14th. Mitchie was in 4th at the end of lap 1. And when Mitchie passes the baby Jewel for 3rd, you would have thought it's settled. But somehow, in some form, way, shape, and Mitchie picks up a penalty! Oh my goodness! How has things just changed? And all of a sudden, we have seen Mitchie getting penalties removed previously in Abu Dhabi and also in previous races. That's how Mitchie actually won the last race because he got 2, I think, 3-second penalties removed for the the Codemasters bullshit penalty system. But I wonder, is he going to be able to get that removed? Is he going to be able to defend off Britain on track? Because if he can't fend off Britain on track, even if he gets a penalty, it wouldn't matter. Britain set the fastest lap of the race to pile on the pressure on Mitchie, who is throwing away the championship. Was looking so, look, he's making moves, and last is defending. And look at where Britain is. Mitchie is desperate now. He has to send this somewhere. And look at Britain now. He's got a terrific exit coming out of turn 4. It's now his turn to attack Mitchie. You wouldn't have thought about this 14 laps ago, but it's happening. It's evolving in front of our eyes. Mitchie, meanwhile, you can't overtake here. There's one line through these fast corners. Maggots, through Beckett's, coming out of Chapel. Is this finally Mitchie's opportunity? He's 3/10 away. He needs to make an overtake. It's now or never for Mitchie. But with Lars having more overtake, There's no way through for Michi. And Britton now just need to sit there. But Michi, I think he's standing one. He's trying to stand one, and last puts on a great defensive move. And Britton can get a better exit. No. Last is becoming Britton's best friend so far in this race. But all of this fighting means the Baby Drive controller, they are pushing back into this fight. Oh, lost it! Britton has lost it! He has to slow down! And as he lost the position, oh, he has! And the Verdex couldn't break in time, he tapped Britton. And Britton's made his second unforced error of the race. And this will relieve the pressure from the shoulders of Michi once again. Going around the outside is Verdex. Britton still leaves him space after all that. And Verdex, I think, he's backed out of that one. He's still going to try to go around the outside, which is not going to work through... I forgot, there's Brooklands in it. Yeah, it's Brooklands corner. So Britton's lost 3 seconds. He's now exactly 3 seconds behind Michi. How the tables have turned. Michi now can... Oh, that's wide. That's another warning. I'm going to check, actually. Oh, Michi's warnings. Got a warning at the start of the race, but that's probably for contact. He's actually got 4 warnings this time. The first one was a collision, that doesn't matter. What's the second one? That's all for Lucanoy. That's the first one on lap 5. There's the second one on lap 11. And there's the third one on lap 14, and that one was just on lap 16 that we saw. So, Michi clearly at least has 4 warnings, judging by the game, which means I don't think he can get that penalty removed. Because even if one of them is Codemasters being shit, he still has another warning though. He got 4 instead of 3. If he keeps it all clean, he can maybe get 1 warning removed and get that penalty removed. But for now, the penalty is probably going to stand for Michi. And he has to pass last. And last is not getting past. 1. That's on the first lap. That's for collision. Doesn't matter, does it? That's for collision. The Britton has 0 warnings for track limits. He can use 2 of them in the remaining 8 laps. So he has a lot of free life, shall we say, to use. Oh, Michi losing the traction in the apex. If he gets past last, he could pull away by 3 seconds over Britton. But Michi, oh Michi, where can he pass last? Where on earth can he send a dive? It's a better line through Chapel. 2.5 tenths behind, but last has doubled your overtake. There's no chance you're ever going to be able to make a move into Stowe. And I think the Baby Drew is letting Britton go then. The Baby Drew is letting Britton go because I believe the gap was still over a second. Because Britton is now 1.3 seconds behind Michi. 8 laps for Michi left to do anything desperately, trying to pass last. Oh, look at last. He doesn't care. He wants to finish in P2. They've been making taps, and oh, it's wide for Michi. And now they're deploying the overtake like no tomorrow. That's a move under the braking zone for Lars, and Michi is very unhappy about it. He's pushing the issue now. Lars is wide through left field. Michi is pushing the issue here. That defensive move from Lars into Brooklyn was a bit dangerous. The one into turn 4 was fine. The one into turn 6 was a bit on the edge. This has helped Britton still because Michi has that penalty. Michi needs to think about this. If Lars defends inside line, don't go to the inside then. Because Lars has never relinquished the inside line ever. Ooh, wide for Michi. Britton has a chance. But he has to shift down to 4th gear through the corner. So once again, coming out to the backstride and up through the gears. There's no way through for Michi here. I think the best chance is probably turn 6. You can go around the outside in turn 6 in dry, but can you do it in intermediate? Maybe you can. Does Michi have now? He's got another one on the last lap. Michi is on the verge of a 3-second penalty. And if he gets a second one, then Britton is going to be the championship winner without any doubt. last. There's no way he can remove both of them. Valor retires from the session. Great run from Mitchie. Is he going to send one into Magus? Last is not really low. That's a penalty that can get removed though. And last, closing the door. They're touching. They're nudging each other. They are literally pushing on to the limit. I mean, that warning is going to get removed for Mitchie, but if he gets another warning, then it's no chance to get. And he's out of overtake. So close here, so far. I don't think Last did anything wrong there. The door wasn't open. Mitchie was trying to push it open. This is Alonso Petrov in Abu Dhabi all over again. I mean, kind of, not really, but Brizan has done a Sebastian Vettel 2012 Brazil. Mitch has done a Alonso 2010 Abu Dhabi. I want to say my memory is terrible. Ooh, that's an opportunity. That's an opportunity. Mitchie sends it, pushes Last off the track. Last takes his tip road and completely cuts through the track and gets a 10-second penalty for corner cutting. But he stayed ahead of Mitchie crucially. I don't get it. Look at them go. I think Mitchie is gonna crash Last out here. Yes, he is. And he's nudged Last out wide. And now Brizan can take advantage of this. Last is on the inside though. Last is not giving Brizan any room on the outside. Last is trying to push for Mitchie once again. And Brizan slots behind. Brizan wants to get past Last, but Last is not letting it go. Brizan needs to lift off here through Stowe. That was a clear bumpy run move from Mitchie, but he's had enough of Last. Does Last have the chance to fight back? He's losing the traction through the chapel corners. But Mitchie still needs to pull away by 3 seconds over Brizan, maybe even 6 seconds. We can't get that second penalty removed. But Last, he's not letting Brizan go. He's not helping either of them. He just wants his P2 back. But he's got 15 seconds of penalty, which he may be able to get removed for at least I mean, for both of them, because Mitchie pushed him wide, gave him that 10-second penalty. Then he got a 5-second one for corner cutting and gaining a place. So essentially, I think Last can get both penalties removed. And Mitchie is wide again. That's probably another warning. Check again. Yes. That's another warning for Mitchie coming out of the final corner. He needs to pull away by 6 seconds in 4 laps. I believe he has the pace to do it, because Brizan is now getting held up by Last. And there's no post-race penalty system, so even if Last reports Mitchie for what Mitchie did, there's no post-race penalty to be added on. The gap, 1.3 seconds. It's role reversal now. Mitchie now needs to find 150% of his pace to pull away by 6 seconds over Brizan. He, now Last, becomes Mitchie's best friend, because Last needs to hold off Brizan. The dynamic has changed in all of a sudden. That move was coming. You can see that coming. It's been too aggressive for both drivers. You can just see that coming, that Mitchie is going to push Last wide eventually. But Last is still within a second of Mitchie. He's not really relinquishing any time here. Maybe Mitchie is not as fast as I thought he would be. He's 1.3 seconds ahead of Brizan still. 4 laps to go once they cross the line. What an incredible season finale here in Tier 2 of the Exotic Racing Series. Brizan needs to stay calm. He probably knows Last is full of anger as well right now. And there's a chance that if Brizan looks to the inside, Last will shut the door firmly. Down through turn 3. Gap now 1.6 seconds between Mitchie and Brizan. You need to pull away by a second lap at this rate, which I think is doable. Through cops. Way better line for Brizan. Mitchie, that's another penalty. That's done. It's surely done now. It's surely finished on penalties. It's not the way that we want to see this championship being won, but on strict corner cutting, if you get penalties, you get penalties. Brizan, meanwhile, he's trying to attack Last. Last is never letting go of his overtake. The gap still 1.4 seconds. Mitchie is not pulling away even to 6 seconds, never mind 9 seconds. Or maybe Mitchie can get a couple of the warnings removed, though he may only have 6 seconds of penalties. But he's only 1.5 ahead of Brizan. And the pace, all the pace Mitchie had in the dry conditions, they look to be disappeared. And Last lets Brizan go! Wow! Can you believe that? But that doesn't matter really in the grand scheme of things. Even if Lars continues to hold up Britain, it probably doesn't matter either way. I don't believe Michi can remove all 3 of his penalties. I just don't think, but Britain doesn't know. He still has to push. 2.5 laps to go, 1.5 second the gap. Are we going to see these two actually fight on track? We've never seen it this race. We've seen Britain with a brilliant comeback. We've seen Michi getting frustrated behind last, and them two making a lot of contact in the mid part of the race. And surely there's going to be fireworks at the end of the race, and Michi twitchy through the high-speed corners. Britain closing by 3/10 through that section. Gap now down to 1.3 seconds. They're both on 14% overtake. That's even. And Lars has fell off. Look at where Lars is gone. He definitely doesn't have the pace. Michi has lost it on Lars. He probably didn't expect Britain, after spinning on lap 1, for Britain to make up so many positions through the field, throughout the race. I have to say, it's a brilliant fight back for Michi after missing round 1 of the race. Britain obviously competing in all of the races, and one incredible fact is Britain has never won this season, and he's not going to win this final race of the season. So Britain may be champion without winning any races. However, we still have 1.5 laps to go. It's still treacherous condition out here in Silverstone. Anything could still happen here. As Protocol, this must be the easiest race of his life for Protocol. Britain doesn't need to push by my calculation, but he's still pushing because he doesn't believe that Michi actually has 9 seconds of penalties, because the Racing Point driver has got a lot of penalties removed throughout the season. Oh, and Lars says, oh my Jesus Christ, hell on earth did he go there? So he's definitely not going to finish on podium then, as control verdict's now very close to the end of the Baby Jewel, and he's standing one down through Vale. In the club, the Baby Jewel holds on for 4th. This might be the final place on the podium, because Michi still at least has 6 seconds of penalties by my calculation, and they are within the 6-second window at least. They're outside the 3-second window now, after that fight in the final sector. We're on the final lap of the race, the final lap of the season. It's been a great season, it's been a fun season, it's been exhilarating, exciting. It's been incredible throughout. We have the 2 championship contenders nose to tail on the track. We have the Protocol, who I have never probably switched onto him during this race. He's doing his celebratory lap now on his final lap. He's weaving around, thanking the Silverstone fans and thanking all of the great people that have done the work to organize this league. It's going to be an easy win for Protocol. If he didn't miss the mid part of the season, I firmly believe the championship would have been Protocol's, but he missed about half of the season, and he has to, well, this is his consolation prize, his 3rd or 4th win of the season. I have absolutely no idea. Protocol crosses the line to win the final race of the season in Silverstone. But the championship surely is going to belong to Britain. Unless Michi can pull off his magic out of the hat. I just don't believe he can remove all 9 seconds of the penalties. Ain't still 3 corners go for Britain for his maiden championship in his career. Turn 16, 2 corners to go. It's a brilliant fight back for Michi. It's a brilliant comeback in this race alone for Britain. And Britain wins the championship of Season 2 intent of Exotic Racing Series. Michi finishes in P5 after all the penalties, but I think he may be able to finish P4 if he gets one of them removed, but it's still not going to be enough. He needs to get all 9 seconds removed to have the championship to be his, but that's not going to be the factor. And last, probably the most important driver in this championship battle, is going to trundle home in a lonely P6 after breaking his front wing on the penultimate lap of the race. Nick, meanwhile, crosses the line in P7, moves up momentarily into P6, but probably none of them is going to get penalties removed. This is the final race of the season, and it probably doesn't matter now for all of them, as they all come across the line, apart from Baron Revenant. Come on, just cross the line, mate. Hey, he's done it. Trust me, there will be fireworks in the Discord channel right now. Mitch is probably pissed at last. But hey, that's for another day to discuss. For now, Portugal wins the British Grand Prix by whopping 35.5 seconds. Britain, by taking P2, take the championship home after getting chased down by Michi throughout the second half of the season. The Baby Drew finishes consecutively on the podium for the second race running, as Verdex picked up a penalty on the penultimate lap to move him down into P4. Michi finishes in P5, so close yet so far. He finished P2 on track, obviously. Nick in P6, and last in P7 is probably the most crucial man today in the championship battle. Lexi also in the points in P8, ahead of Finsick and the other last with Pucci, Revenant, Valen, Lucanoid and Jordan outside the points. That's it for me today, and thanks to Vortex and all the people that put in work for this brilliant season. Will we be back? We shall see. Will I be back? We shall see. See you in F1 2021. Goodbye.